the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Okay, here we go.
Where the plays get broken down and science gets denied.
Hey, they said I gotta come off the bench.
Hour 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Raising Cane studio.
All right, welcome back in. OTB hour number 2 here live from the Raising Cane studio. No Flynn, Jake, Alondra, Tay. Flynn's landed somewhere, though, because he's writing us text messages about emails that he's getting for SEC Media Day. And what they do is, like, anytime that someone's going to be there and they're going to be available, they'll send everyone an email. Hey, would you like to, get a time ready for this person, whoever that person might be? He could sit down and, we're trying to figure out our schedule. And almost everyone that Flynn gets, he's like, hey, who the hell is this person? I'm not going to say who he asked about because the guy's a legend. I respect the guy too much. I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but Flynn's panicking already about having to interview people he doesn't know.
I do get why Flynn didn't know who that was, in fairness to Flynn.
Really, though?
Matt, yeah, the people Matt doesn't know, that one's not that shocking.
Yeah.
It coming from him. This guy's also not still, currently in the spotlight.
He just retired, though.
Yeah, I know, but...
Yeah. All right. That was pretty tough for Flynn last year. I gotta back my boy up a little bit. He got the job during LSU winning a national championship in baseball, a sport in which he hadn't done a deep dive into. He came into it at the very end of the season, and then right after that, we ship him off to SEC Media Days. Oh. We should actually, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it. I think I'm gonna come up with a list of made up names and made up titles of who the person is. And I'm gonna send it to Matt and I'm gonna format it where it's like, hey, Monday, I'm gonna put 4 names in, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm gonna put different names in, and they're gonna be random. Just the most random things you've ever heard. I need y'all to back me up. Not give it away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so game for this.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, hey, we're going to have the guy who made the new Rydell helmet. He's going around, he's talking about the new helmets that he made, the new design for concussions, and he's going to come sit down with us.
It'd be perfect. It's like a coach.
I can't wait.
Matt's asking him about helmets. His coach is like, what the hell?
We're going to have another guy. The SEC is putting a guy in charge of mental training for all SEC football players.
Yeah.
Right? So he's going to sit down with us. We're going to talk some mental therapy with him as well.
You should trick him into thinking that there's actually a hydration person now.
Oh, that's
And he needs to try to get in with that guy from My High.
Or just hey, we're going to have an expert in hydration. He's going to come on the show. The SEC is kind of asking if anybody wanted him. And since he knows so much about hydration, I figured our show would be perfect for him.
Right.
Just to almost make him mad. Nobody knows more about hydration than the king of hydration.
That or he thinks he's going to get a deal done.
Ooh, that. I don't
Says
know.
it at the bottom of his email. King of hydration.
Should we do I don't know. He gets pretty worked up if he thinks somebody knows more about hydration than him. Either one.
A fake player would be funny. It's like they did it to Gronk. Remember they made up the fake Cowboys tight end? And then he was like, yeah.
We should make it the most Georgia quarterback name possible.
Okay, it was Gunnar Stockton before.
Brock Vandersloot.
Something just generic but sounds real. Let's see.
No, Brock
Something
Vandersloot.
Braxton something.
Cooper Finley. That sounds like a guy.
That sounds like a Kentucky quarterback.
It
Yeah,
does.
that does, actually.
And nobody knows anything about
That's a
Kentucky
good call.
anyways, so let's just go with that. Kentucky quarterback.
Yo, we're gonna
Cooper Finley.
We're gonna come up with a list, and we're gonna be like, hey Matt, and I'm gonna send it in the group chat, and y'all can't say anything. I'm gonna be like, hey, here's our first 3 days at media day. On top of the players that are going to be there.
I love a prank.
Yeah, they scheduled these guys, so I want you to kind of do some research on them. And he's not gonna be able to find anything. He's gonna panic.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if he'll say he wasn't able to find anything, or he'll be like, I didn't have time to research it. I go, we'll be fine. He says that a lot.
He
I didn't have
does,
time.
but he's also going to be incredibly nervous. I love this. I love it. And he doesn't get in till like 11 p.m. on Sunday night.
He's going to be on island time the whole
that
time.
man's not going to be trying to research some fake name on St. Bart's time.
Not at all.
So like that morning, I'd be like, hey, did you get a chance to look at Vandersloot's profile?
Bro. He's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I looked at it. He's got bad mechanics, but he's got a good arm.
How far,
he's going to go pretty far.
How far do we want to go? I will go get somebody to sit down.
No, we need to find somebody that looks like they would.
J.D. Piquel.
Yeah,
Yes.
He looks like a Vandersloot.
Still in shape.
And he would not know who he is.
No, he'd have no idea who J.D. was.
Yes, you need to go get
He would
JD
certainly
and be like,
buy-
your name is Brock Vandersloot.
He would buy into it.
Yeah.
Too. Oh, this is so good. Okay, we're doing this.
JD looks like a Brock, too.
He does.
Like
He looks like a Brock
that's
Vandersloot
perfect.
that plays quarterback at Georgia. And they mean that in a very nice way.
Yeah. He's got some insane quads.
He played for Cornell and Baylor.
Yeah.
Right?
Should we do
I remember Baylor.
Georgia?
I don't know the other one.
Yeah, it's Cornell. Should we do Georgia? Because he's going to know Gunnar Stockton.
True.
What if you did like
But
Vandy?
I feel like
No, he's going to know. We talked about Jared Curtis.
I feel like Matt wouldn't know that Gunner's coming back.
He probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
But he would be like, I hadn't heard him. It probably does need to be
Kentucky could work.
Missouri.
Oh, he would not.
Oh,
know
yeah.
Missouri.
Never.
Ever.
He says they're not even in the SEC. That works fine.
But does
Missouri.
JD look like a Missouri quarterback though?
He looks like a Kentucky.
Yeah.
More than Vanderbilt.
Yeah. We were just talking Kenny Minchie the other day, but does he remember that?
No, he doesn't.
So, I mean, Kentucky might be the play.
All right. We're workshopping here. All right.
I love this.
I'm more excited
all for
about
a
this
prank.
than media days in general.
And Busch Gardens.
Busch Gardens going to be elite.
I like how CD had
He has some inside info.
he was like, no, we're gonna get the season pass and we're gonna go every night.
I forgot his daughter moved down to Tampa, so CD's about to
He's
live
familiar.
his best life. Yeah. All right, here inside the document, I'm going to throw this one behind the glass. This is something I'm just catching up with. Apparently, Ole Miss's athletic director, Keith Carter, who loves a microphone, is speaking up again.
Yeah, this was actually back on July 10th is when the interview occurred. He spoke to the Clarion Ledger and, blew through a bunch of different topics, but it brought up Prince Williman Mielen and Devin Harper, the two Ole Miss transfers that are now at LSU. And they had certain contracts with Ole Miss, and he said that a buyout has not been paid for 6 months now, and that court is apparently one of the avenues that Ole Miss is considering. His direct quote is, that would be an option, going and asking a court to get that money for you. Contracts are with the players, but LSU could pay that on the players' behalf. So we're kind of exploring all of those options right now. So I guess they could potentially either sue Uman Mielen and Harper directly or LSU to try to get the buyout money that they say they are owed due to contracts that they signed before they left.
This is a very slippery slope. When someone wants to do this, you have to know there's so many different situations that are going to play out with the portal and what it is. And if you point a finger, there could be two more pointing back at you. It's a very slippery slope. And I'm not just saying that to Ole Miss. I'm saying that to anybody and everybody.
Yeah, everybody's kind of finding loopholes everywhere. And college football has basically become a courtroom TV show. You're on Judge Judy at all times in college football now. So I think that definitely every school is doing something that's a little shady. So you're right. You got to be careful where you're pointing the finger because the Gladstone's houses, whatever.
That's the big thing for me. If you think
Stones, houses, glass, whatever.
Something. Y'all know what we're talking
you
about.
can see through it and it might break. if you think they violated the contract, look, I'm good with it. I mean, players sue for anything and everything all the time. Like, there's 11 NCAA basketball players right now suing because they didn't qualify for the 5-for-5, and for some reason they believe they should. So if Ole Miss wants to do that, fine. Coming out and saying this publicly to a publication as big as the Clarion Ledger, like kind of back to Alondra's point, is a choice. Like you're already under the spotlight, whether you're LSU, whether you're Ole Miss. Coming out with this just seems a little petty to announce this publicly. Like, if you want to sue, if you want to go to court, fine, whatever. That's your choice. But to make a big scene about it just kind of doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Well, also, you got to be careful doing stuff like this publicly because players see this, recruits see this, families see this.
That's a great point.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, like they are going to have a negative reaction to this. If you're in any way against players and their movement and their freedom in today's college athletics, they're going to see that as hey, this guy's not on board. He is not going to play the game. And again, we think a lot of different things about how it's all played out. I'm not saying that's right, but I can tell you that's how they're going to feel.
Yeah, that's the blowback. It doesn't make a lot of sense because, like, to your point, there are people out there that believe that college athletes should just be able to do whatever the hell they want for whatever reason necessary. There's people out there like that. I'm not one of them, but yeah, I mean, I don't see how this becomes a positive in the public light for Ole Miss. I don't see it.
Man, it is going to. I've been to a lot of media days. This is going to be, I think, 11 or 12, and there's something. Look, there's always going to be something. There's going to be a headline. There's going to be something that's spicy, and for sure. I don't know that we've ever had one that's going to be as unpredictable maybe as this one could be, as it could be, with Ole Miss, with LSU, with all the things surrounding that entire situation. And there's going to be other stuff as well from other schools. But the fact that, Pete Golding was at Ole Miss when the entire staff was there, he knows them, and then he gets the head coaching job. And then, Lane's going to have to answer a bunch of questions where, in the past, you kind of answer what you want to answer. At media days, you don't get that opportunity. You're going to be at a podium. They're going to ask you a ton of questions. Now, when I got Lane in the SiriusXM room, we're going to chop it up about ball because that's what I care about, okay? But that's going to be the easiest room that he's going to be in because everything else is going to be about that. Pete Golding is going to be – he's going to be prodded like, hey, say something bad about Lane. Say something bad about Lane. Say something bad about LSU. And he's going to have to try to be careful not to say it, right? Now, again, going back to earlier conversation, I don't know him to ever hold his tongue, so I don't know, what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to come out. And the fact that LSU's bringing a former Ole Miss player, like TJ's going to have to make sure that he's ready for any question and not get too far off his marker, which is going to be incredibly difficult. I can't remember one that's got this spiciness to it like this one's going to have.
It's exciting. Normally, SEC media days suck. They're kind of boring. They leave the bad teams for last. And, I think this is going to be great. The fact that LSU doesn't have to go first at 10 a.m. on the first day, I actually kind of like.
Oh, I love it because it's for us, it's so exciting. Woohoo!
Rest of the week, you're like, at least LSU you have to look forward to as the week goes along. I think it's great. Trades is going to have the easiest media day.
It is
out of the three.
It is very, very smart. It is very smart of the SEC to put Ole Miss on Wednesday and LSU on Thursday. And LSU is going to get the final word. They are. They're going to be the last day. And you're right. Trey Green's going to have the easiest of any of them because Witt is dating Lane Kiffin's daughter.
And that's going to be all the questions.
One of those questions. So it's going to have some spiciness to it. And this, Keith Carter coming out, loves the microphone, getting behind it again. That's just another layer to what's going to be a very exciting media days. All right. We will step away. We do have Connor O'Gara joining us in about 15 minutes from now to continue breaking down SEC Media Days. Look forward to that conversation as always. We'll have that for you when we jump back here on OTB.
Off the bench. From the locker room to the airwaves, it's Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
All right, welcome back in OTB. Remember, if you've been feeling tired, your workouts aren't producing the same results, if your energy is down, or you just don't feel like yourself anymore, it might not be age. It might be your hormones. Now, the team over at Rejuve Me Medical offers personalized HRT with the labs that we talk about all the time, the ins, the outs, 5 minutes in, right? You're out of there. You go back 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You get a plan together. I mean, we're talking about 15, 20 minutes total time to get that treatment plan together. They got experienced medical professionals that are going to help men and women get back to feeling their best. Don't settle for feeling good enough. Schedule your consultation today at RejuveMeMedical.com. That's RejuveMeMedical.com. Did we see the Stephon Diggs? Not that stuff about Stephon Diggs. That's a whole different subject. We saw that. We talked about that in the group chat. No, but he said that he is the best number 2 receiver in the NFL.
I did see that.
And it's pretty funny because, one, no, you're not. And it's not like a slight. He had 1,000 yards last year. But you're not on a team currently. And there's guys like, George Pickens, Devontae Adams, T. Higgins. That's pretty good. Jordan Addison.
Juwan Jennings and Vikings for that
like
point.
Third, right? It brings up looking at the list of free agents still available out there. And it's always, okay, like, why is Stephon Diggs? I know Stephon Diggs has some stuff off the field as well, but he did have 1,000 yards, and he's just sitting out there. He's not signed. There's a couple of receivers, like Keenan Allen is still out there. Deebo Samuel is still out there. If we go over to the edge rushers, there's still guys out there in that list. Joey Bosa is still out there. Von Miller, who had 9 sacks last year, is out there. Kyle Van Noy, Jadeveon Clowney is still out there. It's a surprising free agent market in the NFL. And one of the things about going on a training camp tour that I'm excited about is to kind of look to see how they kind of view some of their position groups. Because, like, you look at a team like the Chicago Bears. Like, I feel like the Bears are an edge rusher away from maybe making a run all the way and maybe playing for something of note, like a Lombardi Trophy. Why are you not signing Von Miller? Why are you not signing Joey Bosa? I'm not saying that they're anywhere close to where they were at their peak, but if you've got money to spend and there's available free agents out there like that, why would you not try to go bring them in if they're the missing piece? Because you look at what these teams currently have, and this falls into a conversation for a lot of different teams across a lot of different positions. We talked about it yesterday with the New Orleans Saints, with Nick Underhill. You probably need another defensive back. Now, you're not going to go out there. Like Marshawn Lattimore, he said that did not end great in New Orleans. Okay, I get that. But Tre'Davious White, Jimmy Ward, Trayvon Diggs. Just trying to throw like some of the names out there. Russell Douglas was available until the other day. He signed with the Commanders. So it's always for me, I'm like, okay, well, either you believe more in the young players that we don't know enough about, apparently, or you're just trying to use your guys, the guys that you drafted, and you're trying to be, not trying to be, you kind of are, you're being stubborn about it. You're being hard-headed about it, because there's a list of free agents this year that not only are they names, but again, like Von Miller had 9 sacks last year. Stephon Diggs had 1,000 yards receiving last year. They're still productive players. It's a little bit surprising that they're still all out there and available.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, back to the original point. No, I mean, he's not the best number 2. We just named 3 or 4 out there. But you look at some of these teams. Jake, we talked about this the other day. Why the hell have the Miami Dolphins not called Stephon Diggs? He would be their number 1.
I think for the Dolphins, it falls into that category of how hard do we really want to try to win 7 games?
I mean, I get it, but
I would say, why in the world have the Kansas City Chiefs not called Stephon Diggs? Have you seen their receiver list?
It's
bad.
Rashee Rice, which whoever knows if he's going to be on the field
he's
or
going to
not.
be suspended for something.
Kelsey's
for 8 games at least, right?
Not getting any younger. I mean, outside of that, what do you have? I mean, yeah, you brought in Kenneth Walker, great. You didn't bring in any pass catchers.
No, and Xavier Worthy has not lived up to being a top pick. Jalen Royals was really bad last year as a rookie. You don't have a ton there.
Well, you don't have any big weapons. I mean, again, Rashee Rice has some size, but what's that going to look like? I mean, bring in a Keenan Allen would be perfect for them. He could go in there. He could live in the slot. He could be a check down option for Mahomes. Like even a Diggs or a Deebo Samuel, that could give you something in that offense. It's better than what they have now. And I'm not sure Mahomes is going to start the season. You could say, oh, Mahomes could do it on his own. Can Justin Fields? Because he didn't with the Jets last year.
All right, I'm going to give you all some homework while we're talking with Connor O'Gara coming up here in about 5 minutes. All right, the homework is going to be, because you mentioned Patrick Mahomes, and so many times in the past he's been able to, whoever's out there, elevate them and make those around him much better. And they've gone other places when they leave Patrick, and they're not the same. He's coming off an LCL and an ACL. So heading into this 2026 season, so not what they did, 5 years ago, not what they're going to do in 5 years from now, but heading into this 2026 season, top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Just heading into this season. So not I think Jackson Dart's going to be this in 3 years, or Tyler Shuck or whoever. And not what they did, not what Aaron Rodgers did 5 years ago. Just heading into this 2026 season, top 5 quarterbacks. So we'll have that discussion. We're going to have our guy Connor O'Gara join us. Looking forward to having that conversation with Connor to break down SEC Media Days. And obviously there's a lot of storylines. Now the main storyline is LSU and Ole Miss, but Connor's going to give you all the latest, all the greatest, and we'll have that conversation with Connor O'Gara when we come back here live inside the Raising Cane's studio.
Off the bench.
All right, go to GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com. Gulf Coast Office Products, your unquestioned leader in all things office. Solutions, technology, customer service. That is really one of the things. Actually, it's the first thing. When you meet with Trey Bill, he's going to mention is the customer service in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Mandeville, Lafayette, 4 locations in Louisiana. But it doesn't matter which one you're dealing with. The number you call, the person that answers is going to be the person that helps you. It is what they pride themselves on. They don't transfer you. They don't send you on this wild goose chase to try to find an answer. They are the answer, and they're going to help you from the very get-go. And they have everything that any large national retailer is going to have. They have every bell, every whistle paired with that incredible customer service. So again, 4 locations in Louisiana. They're always online as well, ready to help you. That website, GCOPnet.com.
From the locker room to the airwaves, it's Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Who've been doing it my way, getting my way for years in my career. The kind of brother in and out my life, I hear love and laughed and tears without a care until I met this girl.
All right, welcome back in. OTB here live from the Raising Cane's studio. It is always our pleasure to catch up with our next guest. It's our guy, Connor O'Gara, now the host of the OG Kickoff with the guys over at Next Round Live. Connor, what's going on, brother? How we doing?
Doing well, man. I feel like it's been a minute. I'm not used to going this long without talking to you, but it's good to hear your voice.
I know. Ever since I made the move to the old NFL channel, I know I miss a lot of my college football brethren. So that's why I'm so excited about next week and being down in Tampa. That's like basically kind of a home game for you.
An hour and a half drive is really nice. It's very convenient in this day and age when I don't have to worry about air travel or anything like that. Quick little Sunday night drive from my home here in Orlando. And I know a lot of people will be poo-pooing Tampa, even though it's Florida and it's right on the water, but whatever. We don't need to debate that. But it will be nice for me to not have to make the trip up to Hoover or up to Nashville or something like that. I love those places. They're all well and good, but yeah, home field, it's going to be really nice.
Yeah, we were discussing in studio, not that Tampa's a bad place, but we were like, okay, why Tampa? And I guess you're throwing the Gators a bone here. Now, maybe Orlando would have been an option as well. Maybe Jacksonville would have been an option. But, Tampa, I guess a little bit, it's on the footprint-ish, but it's a little bit of a unique choice, I think.
I think so. I mean, outside of the Aaron Murrays of the world who have grown up in, the great city of Tampa, I don't know that a lot of people were pushing for it, but I know that they're just trying to move this around. And Sankey had teased the idea of Vegas a few years ago. I personally wouldn't necessarily be the biggest fan of that. I think we're getting a little bit too far outside of our geographical footprint if we're doing something like that. Ultimately, though, nobody really cares except the people that are actually going to this, which, is us. So I guess we're just probably talking in a vacuum right now.
Can we get one in New Orleans?
I mean, why not? Like, this seems so obvious to me, the fact that it hasn't happened yet, it is kind of baffling because we've had Atlanta, we've had Nashville, Dallas, Tampa. New Orleans feels like it's next. I'm going to make a bold prediction and say it'll be New Orleans by the end of the decade.
Okay, I think more than anything, I think he's worried that PB and CD would not make their call times on the SEC network.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Look, even Feinbaum probably would be tough. I think everybody would probably have a little bit too much fun. That's honestly, like that's probably the reason is that there's too much to do in New Orleans, and everybody would just be hung over by Tuesday.
That's true.
And then, the Thursday vibes would creep in 48 hours earlier, and I don't think people would be a fan of that.
All right, so you mentioned the Thursday vibes. It's a great place to start here as we get into the actual SEC media days, because you're right. We've done this for over a decade. We know typically by Thursday, everyone's like, oh, my God, can you please get me out of here? Now, the SEC this year, I think, has done something smart. They put not only Texas on Thursday, but they put LSU on Thursday. LSU's always been the leadoff hitter. It has always been right out of the gates, here comes LSU, and that has been how SEC Media Days has started over the last decade. Well, now they move them to Thursday, and LSU is going to be as talked about as any team at SEC Media Days. The Ole Miss, LSU. Ole Miss is Wednesday, LSU's Thursday. That is a really good move, I think, by the SEC, because as much as by Thursday we're like, get me out of here, everybody's going to be locked in to LSU.
I would think so. And for those who are kind of wondering, like, what are going to be the storylines in college football this year that isn't the Protect College Sports Act and expanding the playoff and all the boring things? And I'm just like, golly, I do not care. Look no further than those Bayou Bengals of yours, because my goodness, man, Lane Kiffin being there for the first time with LSU is going to be great theater. I do think that him bringing TJ Daugherty is fascinating because of the Ole Miss element to it. And for those that want to say like, you know what, he's a leader. No. This is Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin in every possible way. He's got a $6 million quarterback that he left home, and maybe he left him home because of the ankle injury and all that stuff with the Liz Frank and whatnot. But I still look at this and go, Lane is going to be great theater no matter what, even if he is in his very typical boring Lane press conference mode, which he very often is in these settings. It's still going to be fascinating to talk about all these different storylines, and maybe, just maybe, that game September 19th in Oxford. I think if I had to guess, it's going to come up once or twice.
I would say so. And we talked about, like, TJ Daugherty is going to probably have it as tough as any player there, and that's including, like, Arch Manning, who last year, had like a whole posse of security guards following him around. Now, like, Whit Weeks is going to get some of it because, obviously he's dating Lane Kiffin's daughter, and, all those questions are but look, Whit's been at media days. He's been there. He's done that. He's going to have great answers, and that's not the same as, hey, why'd you leave Ole Miss? Why are you at LSU? Like, TJ is going to have to do some heavy lifting as well.
Yeah, and I hope he's prepped for that, because I think you're right. I think he's going to have a ton of people there. And for everybody that kind of understands the dynamics of going, wait a minute, this guy committed to LSU very late in the portal cycle. He and Uman Mielen, who there's still a buyout situation kind of looming over that. This is going to be something that I think is worth dissecting of, hey, why did you see yourself as a better fit? Knowing that you had a lot of success in the Pete Golding defense, and knowing that that was a team that was 20 seconds away from playing for a national championship. And there are Ole Miss fans who are like, he wouldn't have played as much, and they're trying to win that breakup. But I think understanding that storyline is kind of understanding, what is the juiciest plot in the SEC as a whole, at least as it relates to this offseason.
Now let's get to our guy, Pete Golding. We were talking about it earlier. The thing about Pete that I've always loved, if it comes in Pete's head, it's coming out of his mouth. That's the way Pete Golding is. It's the way he's always been. He is never going to change. It doesn't matter if he's got a DC or an HC next to his name. How do you think it's going to be for Ole Miss head coach Pete Golding?
I was discussing this with Ben Garrett, who covers all things Ole Miss for On 3, and we were debating if Pete Golding is now the best cusser in college football. I think he's up there. I think
he's going to. What are you putting the over/under on him at the podium? Cuss words.
I don't want to assume that he's just going to let it rip. I'm going to say it's like 4 is the over/under.
I was going to say 3.5.
Yeah, he's going to have a few that are going to come out, and I think it's just not being in these settings. Let's not forget, this is the first time he's going to be in a setting like this with a ton of people that are going to be chomping at the bit to ask him questions. Hopefully, not about protect college sports and whatnot. Actually, get to things that matter. But I do think that he's going to let it fly in ways that we're not used to seeing. And this is an interesting dynamic too, with having 6 coaches in new spots in the SEC. There's some young blood. Like, I don't know if you've like picked up on this. Half of the coaches in the SEC were born in the 1980s now. I mean, the oldest coach in the SEC is Brent Venables, the guy who runs stadiums in his free time. Yeah. This is a younger dynamic that we're having in the conference. And so, kind of the ways of old of being, always politically correct, that might be going by the wayside, and Pete Golding might be the best reflection of that.
I'm looking forward to it. You're right. I mean, it's going to be the first setting for Pete, and we saw in the college football playoff run, I mean, Pete is somebody that's still going to stay true to himself, and I think 3.5, I'm probably going to take the over there. All right, so you mentioned the young coaches. There's new coaches all across the SEC, some that are going to different spots that have been in the SEC, but there's going to be a lot of new coaches. If you take the Ole Miss-LSU portion out of this, Connor, what are you looking forward to? Who are you looking forward to maybe catching up with that you haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time around?
I'm interested to see how John Summerall comes across because, and I said this on Off Campus, but one of the things that feels obvious with him is that he has won the press conference, and he has made sure from the jump that he was going to win that press conference. Is he going to continue to win over people in that room in Tampa? What's kind of a home field for him, albeit with a 2-hour drive from Gainesville. I'm interested to see kind of how he comes across because he seems as genuine as the day is long, and he has hit on all these key points that have been sources of frustration with the Billy Napier era. And I do think that he's going to bring a new type of energy to the table. And there are a lot of people that are looking at the personnel moves that he's made in this offseason going, dang, Florida, with the schedule that's finally not like maybe the toughest in college football, are they going to win 8 games this year? Like, are they going to keep their head above water and actually be in playoff contention? Because they've kind of had those moments with year one coaches, even if you look at how much they've struggled post-Urban Meyer. So I'm fascinated to see what it looks like with Summerall. I think he's going to win over even more people. And I haven't been in an in-person setting with him in the way that you have. So I think he's going to be one of those guys that comes across. And for those of us who haven't seen him, we're going to be like, okay, I get it. Yeah. And I get why people are so high on him.
Yeah, and again, and I hate doing this because it is throwing shade at Billy Napier, and that's not my intention. Billy's personality is just different. Is a different personality. Billy's never going to get worked up. Billy was never going to get behind a microphone and galvanize a crowd. It's just not who he is, and that's fine. You can be a great football coach and not do that. John Summerall is the complete opposite. He is going to have everyone eating out of the palm of his hand. He's going to be exciting. He's going to be young, energetic. It is going to be a different feel for Florida. So just based off that alone, the different personalities, Connor, I think John's going to win the room.
I was going to add to that, Billy's never going to give up play calling duties, just things like this. Look, I think we can all look back on his time and say he made some clear mistakes. He's since admitted that. I saw the story in On 3 wherein he admitted such a thing. And I think that Summerall, if you're trying to understand like the dynamic and how unique he is, Alex Golesh brought over a dozen players from USF, brought over some of those assistants, and it made a lot of sense that he brought that with him to Auburn, who, I don't know if you've noticed this, but they've endured their worst 5-year stretch since the Harry Truman administration.
Yes.
And meanwhile, Florida is also in this, decade of dysfunction, so to speak. Shout out Mark Nagy for that. And they are in a much different place with this year one rebuild, having just brought over a punter and a kicker from Tulane. That's it. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't know who these sickos are who are out here skinning cats, but
That's true.
Lord knows there are different philosophies for year one success. And those two, coming from very similar backgrounds in the American, are doing it in entirely different ways. And I'm interested to kind of see how they go about their year one business.
Catching up with our guy, Connor O'Gara, host of the OG Kickoff, now with the fellas over at the Next Round Live. Connor, Vanderbilt's interesting to me as well. Nobody's talking about them yet again. The last 2 years, they've been a really good football team. Diego Pavia is no longer on the squad, and it feels like everything they built up over the last 2 years has just gone out the window. Everybody's just assuming they're going to be back to same old Vanderbilt. At least that's the vibe that I get. Are you getting the same vibe? And is Clark Lee going to yet again be able to fly under the radar and just punch teams in the mouth?
It's so difficult to process because, yes, Diego Pavia, I mean, let's call it what it is. He's the difference maker. This New Mexico State migration that we saw take place over the last 2 years has been so transformative in ways that we never could have imagined in Nashville. But the thing that's so difficult to process is that while Clark Lee is coming off this historically great season, he's also 2-22 in SEC games in which Diego Pavia is not his QB1. And so that looms. You know, we've seen what it looks like with 2 winless seasons in SEC play without Diego Pavia. And I think that if you're trying to figure out what's the path back to being able to be a 6, 7, 8 win team, it's Tim Beck. It's Tim Beck running that offense and doing things that I think frustrated a lot of defensive coordinators over the course of the last 2 years. He is still there. So can he work his magic with what we expect to be a true freshman starting quarterback in Jared Curtis, who at this point in his life has more appearances in feature films than he does SEC football games? So that will soon change. But what does that look like? That's going to determine how good they are in this post-Diego Pavia world. But you're right, man. Nobody is talking about them whatsoever, despite the fact that they're coming off this great 10-2 season in which they felt like they should have been in the playoff discussion.
Well, now you've got my attention, and I'm embarrassed because this feels like something OTB should absolutely know. What feature film was Jared Curtis in?
The Breadwinner with Nate Bargatze. Yes, feature film came out. Mandy Moore is the co-star.
That's right. Because Nate's a big Vander. You're right. Now it's tickling something in the brain. I'm remembering this a little bit now. You're right.
Look, I'm just saying I have not been able to see it yet. I'm a huge Nate Bargatze fan, and real fans know it's Bargatze, not Bargatze. That's one for the people.
Oh, you and your pronunciations.
Look, I saw him live in Orlando. I've seen his daughter introduces him at every single show, and I've always paid attention. Like, it's Bargatze. But, like, I'm fascinated with Jared Curtis and how this works out this year, because that kind of raised some eyebrows when we were like, wait a minute, his NIL deal is connected to being in, an actual movie that's not just straight to streaming, but it's in real theaters and people are seeing it. And yet this is someone, like, I think a lot of people are going to be rooting against him because of the Georgia thing, like picking Vandy over Georgia, the path to immediate playtime. So, yeah, he's kind of quietly one of the more interesting people in the SEC this year, even though he will unfortunately not be at SEC Media Days.
All right, last one, Connor O'Gara, our guest here, always good enough to join us. Give me the pronunciation of a player in the SEC. It can be at Media Days. It doesn't have to be that everybody's going to mess up, and you're going to judge us every single time that we do it.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. That's a really good one.
I'm looking through always on top of them.
I know. I'm looking at the list right now, and there aren't a ton that kind of come to mind here. We are going to mistakenly say just Ryan Williams instead of Ryan Coleman Williams. Let's remember the name change on that one. That's definitely one that's going to come up. And then how about let's go with Kewan Lacey, because everybody wants to say like Kewan Lacey, and it's Kewan Lacey. Emphasis on the key part of it. There's definitely some of these. You're putting me on the spot here.
No. I mean, you're always on top of it. Nobody knows pronunciations better than you do. And so, like, if there's a guy, I usually come to you to make sure I'm saying it right. And so Kewan Lacey is going to be the one.
How about Isaiah Satania? He's not going to be at SEC Media Days, but we did an SEC wide receiver draft of like who's going to be the most productive guys this year. I took him number 1 overall in our draft coming off the year that he had at Oklahoma, but he's a guy that more people should be talking about. He's not going to be at SEC Media Days, but he's definitely worthy of this discussion. Just the running back position in general, learn these guys' names. Cedric Alexander is one that people are going to probably mess up. He's got Hester written all over him with his running style. He's going to be the focus of that. You talk about, we had a lot of discussion about Vandy today that I didn't expect. He's one of these guys that's actually going to be at SEC Media Days. 6 running backs will be there. After the last 2 years combined, before this year, we had 1 running back there, and it was Montrell Johnson Jr.
Yep.
And now we're going to have 6 this year. Some are calling it return of the back in the SEC.
Yeah.
I am very much calling that. You can steal that if you want.
I will cite my source the first time, and then it's mine. Connor, we appreciate it, sir. Looking forward to seeing you down in Tampa.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right. That is Connor O'Gara. Now you can catch him on the OG Kickoff. Was with Saturday down south for a long time. Now with the guys there in Birmingham at the Next Round Live. All right. We will step away. More OTB when we come back here live from the Raising Cane Studio.
Off the bench.
All right, if you are looking for a bank that still believes in personal service, well, that's exactly what you'll find with our friends over at First American Bank and Trust. For more than a century, they've been helping families and businesses across Louisiana with everything from checking and saving accounts to home mortgages, business banking, and commercial loans. Best of all, and we say this every single day, it is not lip service. It is truly an asset. Decisions are made locally by people who know this community. They don't call, they don't ask for permission in San Francisco, in New York. That's not what they do. It's all about local. It's all about Louisiana. You are a face, you are a name. You're not just an account number with First American Bank and Trust. So if you are ready for a better banking experience, you can visit them on their website. That is FABT.com. Remember, you can always stop by any Baton Rouge branch as well and see it firsthand. FABT.com, First American Bank and Trust.
From the locker room to the airwaves, it's Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
What a hit. Welcome back in, OTB. Always want to remind you about our friends over at K to Z, KTZBlinds.com, KTOZBlinds.com. K to Z Interior and Outdoor Living is inside, it's outside, it's outside, it's inside, and sometimes it's a little bit of both. Well, I didn't know it was going to be both. I got to be honest with you. Brandon Barton and the team knew it was going to be a little bit of both. They put an outdoor motorized screen on our back patio, and during football season, we found out it's going to shade the entire living room. On Sundays, when we're watching football all day, right, you take the glare off the TV, it cools down the living room, and they knew exactly what to install at our home. They're going to know it for you as well. KTZBlinds.com. You know what my favorite part is about Media Day? When somebody bombs Media Day. I know it's not the way that we should, think about it, and it's tough. But like Deshaun Foster, when he got up there for UCLA, y'all, I enjoy that more than anything. And look, we've all been in those situations. We've all been in front of a crowd where we've had to give a speech or talk, or, it's not easy. I'm not saying it is, but the reason I say that I enjoy it because I'm about prepping for those situations, and you got to be ready. And you got to go over it so many times that if you don't have notes, it's so second nature to you that you find a way to be entertaining. But when you think that you're going to do it without prepping and you get exposed, it's always, I'm like, should have put in the work there, bud. We're also the team in Los Angeles.
The other one?
The other team in Los Angeles. Yeah. That didn't last very long. Deshaun Foster, but
You got to see it coming after the press conference.
yeah, there's going to be some new coaches in the SEC that I'm going to be intrigued by. See once they get up there on that podium and they struggle.
Silverfield's the one I'm watching because he's got a tough question because Arkansas's roster, like I was telling you earlier, I watch a lot of SEC football. I have never heard of the 3 humans Arkansas is sending to SEC Media Days. It's going to be tough for him year one. And he said a lot of stuff in the offseason about, hey, look, I don't know if our roster is good enough to compete in the SEC yet. Like we'll see what we got. So with him saying that leading up to Media Days, that one will be interesting.
I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like, is this what Flynn feels like when he looks at the Arkansas players going to Media Day and has no idea? I don't like this feeling because that's what I'm feeling right now. Who are these people?
Not even their running back. Who's Sutton Smith?
I'm sure Mr. and Miss Smith know.
Came with him from Memphis. I'm looking him up.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, we're coming back. Hour number 3 of OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go Tommy's, Geaux, Tommy's with a Y.com. I was about to say, who's going to do the Yo Tommy? Not Flynn. Although he's in the Caribbean, he's still writing me about Star Wars cards as we speak. Man, go enjoy your vacation. What are you doing, you nerd? Go to GoTommys.com. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, award-winning every year since 2016. The Angie Super Service Award, not only on that list, but the best windows in the Advocate this year. That goes to Tommy and the team. You are going to get incredible customer service. You are going to get custom windows, custom doors, like whatever you're dreaming up in your mind, have Tommy and the team come out. Chances are they can get it done. Also, if you're looking to add gutters, that is another service that they offer over at Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding. So go to the website today. That's GoTommys.com, Geaux, Tommy's with a Y.com.